windy now, I hope you can hear me, but I don't know if you heard what just happened over there. But Bailey just got probably her second little taste of the electric fence. Just went onto the fence and rubbed it with her back. She gave it the squeal and she's gone. When I go back to the shed now, she'll probably be laying in her shed. It's very windy today. It's not a nice wind either. It's quite sharp, but the ground is drying up. That's really, really good. And today, if you haven't guessed it already, we are putting our cows out. It's time now for them to go out and get a little bit of fresh air during the day. I'm not going to lead them out all day. It's just gone about 10 AM there now, and I'll put them out and lead them out for about maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 hours, and then take them back in again. So at the minute I'm just checking my electric fences to make sure everything's alright, but I don't expect it to be working perfectly. There's a couple of bits and pieces that I have to just repair, small little bits and pieces that gets the power over to here, because this is probably the furthest part away from the farm. You get over to our meadow over here, so just going to have a quick look here and see what kind of power we're getting. So we stick this lad here on the ground. That just gives her our earth. We put this steel piece up against it. It's going to be hard to see now with the sun. What are we getting? Are we getting nothing? Alright, well that's not a good start. We're getting nothing. We're just going to unhook this here first. I'll put a test in the ground here now and see if we got any power going to this wire. So we've no power getting here at all, so we have to go back, thresh our steps and see exactly where the power is. Alright, so because of that nasty wind, I'm just copping it now and I am over here. I'm not going to actually put them in this field. This will be the driest field that we have. This field wouldn't be far off, so I'm going to actually put them in here because there's a nice bit of a hedge there and it's lower sitting down, so they'll have a lot more shelter and they don't need much to eat. They're going out full, so this is probably a more sheltered spot. I just don't fancy putting them out there because that's a sharp wind for the first day out, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them there. Regards our fence, well, Bailey kindly demonstrated that our fence works right up to here, so the problem is on this piece of white tape. Now I'll go through why I use white tape on gates. I'll do a video on fencing because I'll go into more detail on that and would just send you crazy, so that's too much on one video. But we will do a video on that kind of electric fence and how I run my electric fences very soon when cows are out and settled. But this is our problem. I have to replace this tape, and if you listen, do you hear that little crack? Well, that little crack to me indicates that there's a short there, and that's exactly what's causing our problem over here. So I'm going to replace that piece of white tape now, and then we should be grand for electric. Stick this in the ground here now, and hopefully we'll get 3 or 4 lights. There we are, see that? We're getting just 8,000. We're actually getting the odd flash of 10,000. That's alright, but when I get at this fence for the next couple of days and go around and just check everything, check all insulators and replace anything that's broken, when you come across bits of stuff that might be touching like that there, just slightly touching a wee bit of a wind, all them little things takes away from the fence. So that's why I love to go out in the springtime and do that job. Nice to get out in the fields. I see there when I look up here now, there's a post brook just above me, just at that ESB pole, so that's obviously going to be taken away from it as well if that's touching the ground in any way. Stick me Nugent trailer on the back, a heap of new posts, wire, everything I need, and just go out for the day, one day, and go around and just fix everything, and that's it. Then you know your fence is good for the year. Let's go. There's the help coming here now. Right, I've all set up now. I'm going to leave you guys here and I'm going to go down and release. That's them out, and the good news is none of them fail going out. That's what I always fear. Cows get very, very excited when they're getting put out, and they can slip in the yard very, very easily just with pure excitement, and that's all it takes. One bad slip and the leg's broken. You don't want to see that, so you have to be very, very cautious when you're putting them out for the first few days till they settle down. They'll gallop, they'll mess around for a while. That's just the nature. They're excited, you couldn't blame them. But they're out, and that's what's important. Authorities will be set, new leaders of the house will be made, and that's what's going on here, just settling who's going to be dominant. So two different sides of the shed, as a heifer versus a cow, and they'll not do any harm. They'll do that for about half an hour until one gives up and moves away, and that'll solve that problem. But they're going to move around for a while, especially the heifers. They've never been over in this farm before, so they're going to have to move around and see what's what. But they're all settling in. After about 15 minutes they'll all be head down and hopefully doing exactly what this girl's doing. Being out in the field and surrounded by your cows, well, some of them, we still have a lot of them in the shed, but some of the cows being out, it's a nice feeling. It's one of those feelings that's hard to beat. So I'm just watching this girl here, just make sure she's eating what she is. I'm not going to leave her out for very long. She is the one that lost the tit I spoke of in the other video. That back left hand side is still quite big, and really I didn't really want to put her out, but you know something, she wasn't doing that terribly well inside, so I'm going to leave her out for about an hour and a half, let her fill herself, and then I'm going to put her straight back into the house. Whatever it is about the spring grass, it turns cows inside out, and I don't mean it turns their insides to the outside, no, it just cleans them up and gets the milk flowing. It's just hard to beat, because now in a few days time hopefully we'll see the benefits of this. Our milk production will definitely go up and cows will be much happier. We'll not be using half the amount of silage if they stay out, because we have a lot of grass. As you can see there's a lot of grass on the fields, and that's a great thing to have. I'm going to head back home. I'm going to take a quick picture here for Instagram, and then we're going to head on to the next job. Another thing I done when I was letting them out, so normally if you watch the channel you remember that I normally let them out this gate here, and I put a post down here. There's a hole here for a post right there, and I let them come out, turn around and straight out here. The only problem I have with that is there's a ramp here. None of our ground is level. It's a very, very uneven yard. There's nothing we can do about it. That's the joys of a farmyard being built into a hill. So we have a ramp here that goes kind of up to the chute, and cows do come flying around and with real excitement turn around that, and then they just slip. The two legs go from under them, and that's deadly dangerous. So what I did this time was I just hooked up a wire over there and brought it across and put it to this post and opened this gate out wide, and it walked a tree. So anything to alleviate the chances of them falling is definitely worth doing. So it's now Wednesday morning. It's the morning before St. Patrick's Day, and what I want to actually do now is I want to actually move my calves, because the calves you would have seen, well, especially the four biggest heifer calves that you would have seen me dehorning back a couple of weeks ago, they've outgrown the house they're in now, and they need to move. They need more room to move around. So we have a house in here. You would have seen in other videos last year and the year before of where we moved them down to here. And then also I'm going to take their jackets off, and you get a look at them when their jackets is off, because they've outgrown them now. They've done really, really well. And I'm going to move 4 young heifers from the lower house then up to where they came out of, just to move calves around and give them more space and more air to play about. So that's what we're going to do now. But the first thing I need to do is I need to put some pallets down on the floor like I always do. I use wooden pallets, cheap and cheerful, and they do the job just 100%. But I need to take off some of the timbers off it and get them ready for the house. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let's get at it. A lot of you started commenting saying, Aidan, would you not get yourself a pallet breaker instead of using a chisel and hammer? And you know something? I hadn't got one because I'd never heard of it. Yep, I'd never heard of a pallet breaker. So I Google searched and I went around and I started looking about them, and I thought maybe then, you know, I seen images on Google search and places like that, and says, you know, it'd be no harm to make one of them. They look fairly easy to make. But then I was up at my local co-op and I seen this one. I've no idea what brand it is. 30 quid. Wouldn't be worth my time and effort to try and make one at that kind of price. So there we have it. There's a pallet breaker. Bought that a couple of months ago. I've already used it a few times. Mighty tool. Would have never known anything about it till you guys on YouTube. Have you ever heard tell of a Friday evening job? Well, this pallet here, that's not even nailed onto it. Some guy must have been either getting peed off or just really wanted to go home and just said, you know what, stick it in there. It'll do rightly, no one will ever cop it. And that's where you get something like this. So we better fix that into place. Lovely jubbly. That's our pallets in. All I have to do now is nail them together, but I need to get an end piece here just to go the whole way around it. That's a few inches taller than the actual pallets themselves to stop the straw from coming down the floor. Now we're all ready to put them in. We're after putting the bedding down there. Nicole and Sophia are just home from school there now. They're on a half day today because St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. So Nicole's all raring to go up there. Next thing we have to do is the fun part, and that's to get them down without them going too mad. Far from small anymore. As you can see, 57 there is an absolute giant. That jacket is going to be coming off when we get them down to the house because they've outgrown their jackets completely and they're adjusted out as far as they can be adjusted. So it's time for them to come off. It's nice and mild today. So, right girls, let's get them out. I'd say they'll follow you because they always follow me. Come on, sucks. Will it work today? Sucks. No, just when I see them here now, we'll take the jackets off just where they are before we move them. Just as handy than carrying them back up the yard. This jacket off you. That's all I want to do. Where? There's another one. Ready for the big reveal. There we go. Look at the size of that monster. Holy crap. We haven't actually seen them like that in a long time. That calf has grew immensely. They've all grew fierce well. Whether that's down to the jackets or not, I don't know, but they've done really well and they've been very healthy since the day they were born. So that's it. Now you see them off. You'll see them better now without the daylight. It's a lovely shine of them. That's why I love the jackets. I really like them. I think it makes a great job with calves. But anyway, that's just my opinion. That's the jackets off. Now let's get them moved. Just see it here. Let's use a look. Come on. Be ashamed of talking to them. Come on. Take a wee while. They'll run all of a sudden when I go in front of them here. See what they do. Success. Come on. Once one goes, they'll all come. Come on. And you're going on anyway. Success. Should have brought a bucket. Come on. Success. Come on. Success. Now I get these to go the right way. Come on, there's your pal in there. There we go. Here we go. Success. Come on, success. Come on, success. Come on, success. You're alright. You're all home and all dry. Here we go. Point of no return. Is this over? Where's that outreach? Because
the latch is open.
Which is opened? Is that why? Oh, Nicole, oh! You have her. There we are. That's them settled into their new house for another wee while. Big, strong brutes, so they are. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what the camera shows them up like, but that's 4 of our oldest calves. We haven't got a whole pile of heifer calves a year, as you can see. I've talked about it before. It has been really disappointed that way. But we still have another 4 heifers there that are going to be put up now into their place. So we're alright, because we have another 10 cows are re-eyed with Frisian. Still a calf yet, so hopefully we'll get 3 or maybe 4 into that. And if they do get that, they'll be a bit later, but we'll still have the right number that we want. Just won't have the nice January calves. And a January calf is a hard bet calf. That's the first time I got a look at that one. I didn't actually realise there was so much white in that calf till I put the jacket off, because its head is more or less black and the jacket then was deceiving, but nicely marked. They'll be curious now for a while as to what's here. We'll have to lay out some meal for them here. But that's it, straight into their straw. They're great appetites, is one thing about them. We're going to go up now, nothing exciting. We're going to go up and actually clean out that house now completely. Just red all the bedding out of it. And then we're going to get ready to move our other calves up. We're not going to do that today because I want to put jackets on 2 of them. I also want to lift out that feeder as well, give it a really good wash out and move it down here. And put another one up with the other 4 calves, just to keep feeding them with the one that we're already on rather than letting them mix with any other calves. They're going to be coming off milk replacer there now because they don't need it. We might put them on once a day for a little while just to wean them off, but they really should be off milk replacer now, and you're just being spoilt at this stage. So that's it for today's video. I'm just looking up here now and you can see our cows out in the hill there just above them tyres. And when you see the tyres, yes, a lot of people have asked me about the tyres. Did you ever find anybody to take your tyres? We got a couple of quotes from different recycling companies to take our tyres, and it's been costing us in around 180 a tyre to get them recycled. I actually didn't realise it was so expensive to get tyres recycled. Hence the reason now I realise why there's so many tyres stacked on different farms. It is very expensive to get rid of them. So we have quite a few of them there, so it's going to cost a nice few quid. And to be honest with you, at the very minute, we're after just buying our fertiliser, and it's going to be an expensive year all round. So we're not going to just get rid of them yet. We're going to leave them there for now. If anyone is looking for some free tyres, they're there to go. If anyone needs them, maybe in a question centre or something, you can send me a PM and we will get rid of them in small amounts if you want. Because I do hate seeing them there. They are an eyesore and I'd rather see them gone. But for now, we're not putting that kind of money into it. As you can see there in the background there as we were walking by, our fertiliser, some of it is here, as we call it now, gold dust. Absolutely chronic stuff to buy. And one other thing that gets asked a lot about, and I just thought of it now because I'm about to put my cover back, is the silage. We did say way back that we're getting our silage tested and we'd share the results of the tested silage with you. I never thought of doing it, and we have the results and all back this long time. So what I'll do is I'll share it on our Instagram story and our Facebook story. If you guys, you want to take a screenshot or just have a look at it and see for yourselves how it came out. We'll say this is Sunday. I'll share it tomorrow, which will be Monday. I'll share it probably tomorrow evening. I'll put a screenshot of both of our silage samples, because we got one done in a quick test here and then we got another one done in a laboratory, which came back in a week, 10 days, and they had a little bit of differences in them. So I'm going to share both of them and I'll label which is which, and just in case you guys are interested in it. But you know what? I judge me silage. I'm looking at my cows and I'm very, very happy the year. I'm over the moon with the silage the year. Little to no waste. We had a wee bit of waste at the very beginning, only a couple of barrows, and I see now, just as we're getting into the last quarter of the pit, we're not just at the quarter of the pit yet, we see a wee bit of waste here coming. Small bit, tiny wee bit here, but it's relatively nothing. It could be the old silage that was left over from the year before, because if you look back at when we were putting in our grass last year, you'll see that we had a nice little pit of silage left, and we could be starting to go down into that now. But that's it for today's video. I hope you had a good Paddy's Day and a great bank holiday weekend. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that sub button, give us a like. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and we do the odd TikTok. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again.